The world of MotoGP is shaking once again after explosive news emerged that could disrupt the dominance of the kings of the track. All eyes are now on Marc Marquez, who suddenly finds himself under the shadow of a serious threat after Pedro Acosta sent an open warning signal following the Buriram Grand Prix. The young rider's confident statements and bold gestures were more than just psychological warfare. They were a clear message that a new era is knocking at the door, and there is no longer a safe space for legends. Is this a sign that Marquez's throne is truly beginning to be challenged by a new generation hungry for titles? Let's discuss. The opening round of the 2026 MotoGP season has truly marked the beginning of a new chapter in the Premier class. It's no longer just about who wins. It's about a shifting balance of power in the paddock. At the Buriram GP in Thailand, the spotlight was firmly on two major names, Pedro Acosta and Marc Marquez. Acosta delivered a near-perfect performance with victory in the sprint race and a second-place finish in the main race. Meanwhile, Marquez was forced to swallow a bitter pill after a racing incident cost him crucial points and dropped him to 8th in the provisional standings. New season, new hierarchy, new pressure. Riding for Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, Acosta officially became the first rider in KTM history to lead the MotoGP Championship standings. This isn't just a statistical milestone. It symbolises the resurgence of the Austrian manufacturer, long overshadowed by Ducati's dominance. Since his promotion to MotoGP in 2024, Acosta has carried enormous expectations. However, the 2025 season did not fully silence public doubts. Now, Buriram has become a turning point. He acknowledged the major role played by his crew chief, Paul Trevathan, in keeping his mentality stable throughout the winter break. "We worked very well during the winter. Paul kept reminding me to stay calm and not overthink things. Last year, the expectations were too high, and that didn't help," Acosta said. A realistic approach became the key. After an unconvincing warm-up session, the team agreed that a top 5 finish was the target. "We made fewer mistakes compared to last year. Now it's about consistency." KTM's last major victory came at the 2023 Jerez Sprint with Brad Binder. Since then, they have struggled to maintain consistency. The 2026 winter appears to have been a moment of technical revolution for the RC16, particularly in braking stability and corner exit traction, two aspects that were clearly evident in Buriram. On the other side of the paddock, pressure is mounting on the Ducati Lenovo team. Marquez's arrival this season was initially viewed as the ultimate move to secure continued dominance. However, the Buriram GP served as a loud wake-up call. The incident he experienced, combined with a race rhythm not yet fully synchronized with the character of the Ducati GP26, cost him valuable momentum. Sitting 8th in the standings is far from the expectations placed on an 8-time world champion. The situation raises a critical question. Is Marquez's adaptation to Ducati truly complete? Or is there still a gap between his riding style and the DNA of the Desmercedesi that hasn't fully merged? The 2026 MotoGP battle is heating up not only on track, but also in psychological warfare. Championship leader Pedro Acosta finally delivered a statement widely interpreted as an open warning to Marc Marquez after the Buriram GP. In a media interview session, Acosta spoke bluntly about his ambitions this season. Although he did not initially mention Marquez by name, the direction of his message was unmistakable. "I have huge respect for what Marc has done for MotoGP. He's a legend. But every era comes to an end. I didn't come here just to learn or finish in the top 5. I came here to win and to lead." The statement immediately sparked reactions throughout the paddock, especially considering that Marquez now sits 8th in the provisional standings after the Buriram incident, while Acosta confidently leads the championship with Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. And Acosta didn't stop there. He added an even sharper remark. "If I want to become world champion, I have to beat the biggest names. And I'm not afraid of anyone on this track. MotoGP is changing. My generation didn't come here to wait for its turn. We came to take over." Many see this as a direct message to Marc Marquez, who this season joined the Ducati Lenovo team with the ambition of restoring his dominance. Acosta even closed with a tone of complete confidence. "I don't just want to compete with Marc, I want to beat him consistently. If that means erasing past dominance and creating a new history, then I'm ready to do it." With KTM's performance growing stronger and his mentality becoming more mature, Acosta's message is clear. The 2026 season is not about defending big names from the past. It's about who is most ready to control the future. Following Pedro Acosta's brilliant performance in Buriram, KTM boss Pit Bera finally spoke out and gave his full support to his young rider. According to Bera, what Acosta demonstrated was not just a strong race result, but proof of mental maturity and readiness to lead KTM's major Moto GP project. He emphasized that KTM is no longer simply chasing occasional victories, but is now building a solid foundation to fight for the World Championship with Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. Pedro has shown that he's not only an extraordinary talent, but also a leader on the track. "The way he handled the pressure in Thailand was extremely impressive," said Bera. Bera also sent a firm message to their rivals, including the Ducati Lenovo team camp and senior riders like Marc Marquez. He stated that KTM is now in a completely different phase compared to previous seasons. "We worked extremely hard throughout the winter, and the results are starting to show. Pedro is our future, and we believe he's ready to fight anyone for the world title. This is no longer about surprising people. It's about consistency and dominance," Bera stressed, signalling that KTM is ready to challenge the long-standing hegemony in MotoGP 2026. Amid the heated MotoGP battle, Aprilia Racing has quietly begun to show serious signs of resurgence in the 2026 season. The latest RSGP looks far more stable, especially in tyre management and corner exit acceleration, two crucial aspects that previously had been weaknesses. While Buriram did not deliver a victory, their consistent pace throughout the weekend convinced many observers that Aprilia is no longer just a dark horse. Team management has also expressed strong optimism. They described the winter bike development as the biggest step forward in the last 3 years. With an increasingly refined technical package, Aprilia aims to break into the top-tier fight and disrupt the dominance of Ducati Lenovo team, as well as the impressive momentum of Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. If this trend continues, the 2026 season will not only be about a duel between Pedro Acosta and Marc Marquez. It could evolve into a three-way battle among major forces ready to reshape the MotoGP landscape. Buriram also brought another storyline to the surface. Several young riders looked aggressive and unafraid to take bold strategic risks. It's a clear sign that the 2026 season could mark the beginning of a generational transition. Race pace is becoming more evenly matched than ever. Even the smallest mistake can have a major impact on the championship standings. For Marquez, this situation is far from a comfort zone. He now finds himself in the role of the hunter rather than the leader. Can Marquez stop the rise of a new era before his name is truly pushed off the top of MotoGP 2026? Share your thoughts in the comments below.